It was a really bad day today in court for Cassie. It was disastrous. It was disastrous for the prosecution and their entire case against Diddy. In court, it was pretty evident, bro. The prosecution is in over their head. You could tell there is a clear gap in skill between the prosecution and Diddy team of attorneys being spearheaded by Brian Steele. A lot of y'all was introduced to Brian Steele when y'all seen his brilliant defense of Young Thug. Young Thug was 100% guilty of a lot of those charges, but Brian Steele was so brilliant. He was so outclassing the prosecution that he was able to get a mistrial, and he was able to get the prosecution to buckle to their knees and give Young Thug a plea deal that allowed Young Thug to get out and face 0 jail time but a suspended sentence. And now he's working his magic for Diddy. Like, do you see how Diddy is hugging this good white man? Diddy knows his savior has arisen, and this is his only hope of beating this case. And so far, Brian Steele is putting on an absolute execution and display of brilliance, bro. Whatever Diddy is paying this man, 5-10 million, is well-deserved money. Brian Steele is outsmarting the prosecution every way possible. Diddy already had his team of attorneys. He hired Brian Steele midway through the process. And when Brian Steele came on board, you could tell from the very beginning, Brian Steele was thinking 20 steps ahead and trying to outsmart everyone. Because the first thing we started to hear when Brian Steele came on board was, yo, Diddy is looking for more women on his defense team. You know why? Because Brian Steele walked in and Brian Steele asked the team of attorneys, which one of y'all are gonna be cross-examining Cassie? And the attorney was like, yo, us. We're great at cross-examination. We're gonna get her in all her inconsistency lies. And Brian Steele says, yo, is you stupid? Like, are you dumb? You're gonna have a bunch of Caucasian white men cross-examining Cassie and being really aggressive with her on the stand for an essay and a trafficking case? Are you stupid? Cut the sausage party, bro. Where the women at, bro? So then Brian Steele began to orchestrate to bring in more women. Brian Steele specifically brought in 3 women who were all victims of SA. And they were going to be the women that were going to be cross-examining Cassie or quote-unquote checking her. Just that small detail that Brian Steele was able to catch that nobody else was able to catch shows why Brian Steele gets paid the big bucks. And today, that decision paid off, bro. That decision essentially just saved Diddy. Yo, Diddy and Brian Steele and his attorneys, they were fearful of Cassie's testimony. That was going to be the one thing they felt, yo, we can't really beat this. Yo, they was up at night thinking about Cassie testifying. So far, they've been able to manage this pretty well. Because you know what happened? Brian Steele's decision of including a SA victim who is an attorney to cross-examine Cassie, that paid off magically, bro. Because that person was able to get a lot of information out of Cassie that ain't make her look good, bro. And it made Diddy look like, dare I say it, an innocent man, to be honest, bro. Now, I'm not saying he innocent. I'm saying it made him look innocent. Even though Cassie was being cross-examined by Diddy attorney, Cassie was sharing a laugh with the attorney during the cross-examination. It didn't feel like a cross-examination. She wasn't pressuring Cassie to answer the yes or no questions. She was sort of like bypassing it. And just Cassie showing that level of comfortability came across great to the jurors, and it looked really great for Diddy attorneys. However, it was still a cross-examination, and they still got some really great info out of Cassie and got her to admit to a lot that looked really favorable on Diddy's behalf.
Lunchtime update, Cassie on the stand, her first day of cross-examination. And I don't want to say it's super intense because Diddy's lawyer, Anna Estevea, she's doing an amazing job at being very gentle. I mean, Cassie and her have exchanged a few laughs while she was on the stand, which I thought was pretty incredible. And additionally, there's a lot of explicit graphic text that we're seeing from Cassie to Diddy and vice versa. And Estevea is saying, look, if you don't want to read these, you don't have to, which I thought was really nice. Also, when Cassie answers and it's kind of a yes or no question, Estevea isn't like, it's yes or no. She's being very, very calm and very kind. Now, what we saw like right off the bat here was a conversation via BlackBerry between Diddy and Cassie about 2.5 years into their relationship. And remember, at this point, Cassie testified during direct that he had a her. She didn't want to do freak offs, you know, all this stuff.
And that right there is the basis of the prosecution's entire case against Diddy. Cassie was the first one who accused Diddy of trafficking. That was included in her lawsuit. And the only reason why she included that was because of I think, like the Mann Act, right? That extends like the window for where a victim of trafficking can sue. So Cassie included that. But when Cassie is testifying, I didn't want to do this. You know, I was doing it against my will. He was making me do this. And then the gigolos or the male escorts are testifying, oh no, she instructed me to take a piss on her. Oh no, she's the one who handed me the money. And then you see text messages where she's requesting to do the free calls. And people are like, hold on, bro. You're requesting to do these things because you want to keep Diddy to yourself. So if you're requesting these things in messages, in emails, it's kind of hard to now paint the narrative. Again, I'm not saying Diddy didn't force her to do these things. I'm saying how it comes across at trial, if we're trying to use our reasoning, our comprehension to figure out who's winning this case and who's not, it looks away when there's emails and messages of you asking for the free calls.
And she actually said that, he said, you know, I miss you already. When do you want to FO? That was Diddy. And she said, I'm always ready to FO. And again, this was August of 2009, about 2 years into their relationship. They talk about when it would be best for them. And then they talk about getting an escort involved. And then we see a text message that says, I can't wait to stare at your BBD. You guys know what I'm talking about. And again, lawyer did not make her say it out loud. There's a lot of explicit text messages, and look, I think some of the takeaways here at what the defense is doing and what they're eliciting out of Cassie is, again, the email saying she loves him after these FOs. And don't get mad at me. Don't tell me, you know, I understand how trauma works, but I'm just relaying all this to you guys. So Cassie testified that she had to do freak offs during her period. And we were shown an email where Diddy, for FO planning purposes, asks her when she's getting her period. And she says she's skipping it that month. Additionally, she testified that she didn't want to be a swinger because she didn't want to see him with another woman. Well, we see an exchange where she says she has a fantasy about seeing him with another woman.
Brian still did a very great job at making the security guard, the second person who testified, at making him look discreditable. He hopped off that stand and people was looking at him like, man, bro, like this witness was a waste of time. Because there's no way a jury is going to buy anything he just said. Because Brian still got him to admit that he copied the footage to show it to his wife. He was cloud chasing. He lied about a couple of things, lied on the report. Brian still discredited him completely. Cassie is the star witness. This is her story. Her story is why Diddy is currently being indicted and charged. So when you catch Cassie in a couple of white lies, like, hey, yo, he made me do this when I was leaking. But then Diddy is asking, hey, yo, when is your period so we don't film? It's kind of looking crazy. When you're texting him, yo, I want to F right now. Yo, I really miss the free calls. It looks a certain way. When you're texting him, oh, I love you, thank you. It looks a certain way. Now, there's like the message, which to me is like the smoking gun, where Cassie expressed. Now, Cassie is, I didn't want to do it. He made me do it. No. Cassie would express she loved doing the free calls in the messages, but the smoking gun is her reason for why she wanted to slow down on the free calls. And it had nothing to do with her feeling degraded, her feeling disgusted, no. She didn't want to do it. Well, you're going to have to watch the rest of the video to hear it.
And I'm paraphrasing here. She also says at one point that, quote, she'd travel anywhere to be with him. And this is while they are discussing an FO in this one message, this BlackBerry message. Another big thing here is the drug talk and the opioid talk. So Cassie testified that Diddy told her he was addicted to opioids. And the defense is basically saying, well, did you see him try to get off these opioids or come down from them? And she said, yeah. And then they said, well, that makes one volatile, angry. And again, I'm paraphrasing, but basically what they were alluding to is that Diddy's violent behavior and aggressive behavior and all of his mood swings that she talked about were because he was coming down from opioids. Let me make sure. I feel like I have so many notes from today. Yeah, again, a lot of graphic messages, mainly about Cassie saying how much she liked it after it happened. It was so good, and she's talking about FOs. Oh, something really big that they're trying to prove here. Cassie felt like she didn't have the words to relate to Diddy because she was so young that she didn't want to do this and yada yada, referring to the FOs. Well, we've seen a lot of messages from Cassie to Diddy that are paragraphs, let's say, explaining certain things to him, really seeming to wear her heart on her sleeve. At one point she said, look, I'm unsure about the FOs because I feel like, before when we were doing them, and this is a few years into their relationship, she said, before we were doing them, I could spend time with you after. Now we're doing them and you're leaving right away.
These messages are showing Cassie enjoyed the FOs. She enjoyed it. It wasn't a thing that she was dreading or a thing that she was looking at as, oh my God, no, she enjoyed it. Her only gripe against it when it got to a point was she wanted more time with Diddy. She wanted Diddy to do the FOs and then stay there, cuddle, and treat her like an actual girlfriend. After a while of doing the FOs, he began to treat her like a girl just for the FOs. He would only link up with her to do the FOs. And she would express that. I have no problems doing the FOs. I just have a problem when you treat me like a girl who only do the FOs. Afterwards, you head out and you don't really spend time with me. This is not coming across as somebody who was trafficked, bro. I'm all for protect women, bro. Because I understand how I would feel if my sister was in this situation, bro. I would believe my sister. But in this situation, bro, where I'm being tasked with hearing out the facts and hearing out the details, and I'm being asked to make my decision or to give my opinion, it's hard for me to come up here and fake it and let you guys know, yeah, Diddy did that, bro. It's hard because Diddy is a garbage human being. Diddy put hands on his woman. Diddy should be in jail just for that. But if you're asking me to give my opinion on whether or not Cassie was a victim of being trafficked, how can I tell you guys with a straight face after hearing stuff like this, man? And it's hard, and a lot of content creators are steering clear of this, bro, because it's hard for us to give a real opinion without being painted as Diddy apologists. Nobody thinks Diddy is a good guy. Nobody thinks Diddy is 100% innocent in regards to this relationship. But he's not being charged with a lot of the other stuff that we know for a fact that Diddy did. Because those stuff, he can be charged for it, right? Like they're past the statute of limitation. So now the trafficking is what he's trying to get caught on, but it's not sounding like it's trafficking.
For work, and I'm not getting that time with you. So the defense is kind of like, well, it looks like she's able to communicate this stuff, and is it fair to say that this is the reason that you didn't want to do freak-offs? Not everything that you testified yesterday. Again, don't get mad at me. I'm just explaining about what the defense's strategy seems to be and what they're going for. They also went into the fact that, look, you testified that it would take you days to come down from these FOs and you would waste so much time of your life trying to recover. Diddy was doing the same thing. He was coming down from these too. Is it fair to say that he was still running a business, running running his own life, running Bad Boy Records and traveling here and there, basically saying, well, he was fine. He didn't have to recover for days. That's your problem. Again, just some observations. Cassie doing a great job holding it together, so calm, so poised. And Anna Estevea, really great. I mean, a lot of defense attorneys can badger these witnesses and really come across unlikable to the jury. But like I said, they're sharing laughs. They, you know, she's not too aggressive. She's getting her point across without being a jerk. So I will give you guys more later.
It's going to be hard to prove that Cassie was forced into this to a level where it meets trafficking. Because if you don't have any messages or correspondence to where you're telling him, no, I don't want to do this. And none of the people who have testified, the male escorts, none of them have said, yo, Cassie was like not trying to do it. No, they say, yo, she was looking like she enjoyed herself. That's not taken away from her experience. She could have very well be doing that to impress Diddy, right? It's not taken away from her experience whatsoever. But it's going to be really hard, bro. It's going to be really hard to prove that this meet the level of trafficking when there's messages saying, yo, I enjoyed this. Yo, when are we going to do it again? Bro, I can't wait to do it again, yo. Hey, yo, next time, can we please get a tad bit more rough? Yo, I implore anybody to go ahead and read those messages that was in court. You know, it's hard to look at those messages and come across as if Cassie didn't enjoy it or she wasn't a willing participant in the FOs. Y'all let me know in the comment section, what do you guys think about this, all right? Let me know, man. Let me know in the comment section. And if you're still watching, click on this video here somewhere on my screen, somewhere here, man, to find out how Cassie revealed the real reason that we've never heard before for why Diddy was trying to kill Drake in LA. Click on this video right here to find out what I'm talking about. I'm out of here, folks. Peace.